um, videos she has. Thanks, Dr. Emily. Heartburn, a lot of times I see actually resolve from sipping apple cider vinegar and betaine hydrochloric acid. How does that work? Well, that's another more advanced one, or something I could talk with you individually with at consultation time. If you like to go down and find out more about that. All right, so here's a really awesome picture to help show our next area of the GI tract. We move from the stomach now into the small intestine. Look at all those beautiful fingers. Look at those absorption, all the surface area to help you absorb all your nutrients and proteins and carbs. It's beautiful. We have the mucosa layers underneath with our muscles. So this whole tube has mucus and villi fingers are going to be kind of my focus here. And in the colon, you'll see they're very worn down. We're not absorbing very much at this point. And this is no villi even whatsoever or at all. These are actually called crypts at this point. And I will talk more about the colon here in a minute. All right, so mucous membranes in the villi in the small intestine is where all our nutrients are absorbed with the help of the liver, the gallbladder, and pancreas, as well as those amylase enzymes in the mouth provide all the enzymes that we need. So if you're a liver, gallbladder, pancreas, sometimes that is exactly all I need to do for some people is give them pancreatic enzymes. Pancreas is very sensitive to viruses and vaccinations. And this is why we're seeing more type 1 diabetes in older people. So it's worth getting looked at if insulin isn't working well to see if your amylase and lipase is being produced as well in your pancreas. Too much mucus in the morning. This is coming from our mucous membranes. They're right underneath the villi. You have most likely overactive mucus in here. The body will kick up this mucus like histamine to try and actually fight something or protecting coat is really what the mucus is doing, right? It's trying to protect some kind of irritant that's bugging you. I'll see this to poor diets, toxins, like pesticides and alcohol, coffee as well. In the morning, you want to just try and get that up and out. You should be Dr. Emily Ganaway, Ganna, Way, on Instagram. She has this really awesome video on gut, gunk, and mucus. It's great. I refer my family members to that who don't want to listen to me. All right, so villi should be long as you saw there in the picture. But when some specialized instruments have gone in and looked at them, they're seeing that people are running off of 20% of what we should be running on with these villi, specifically due to glyphosates in our food now, us overeating our food sensitivities, or overeating these highly processed foods. It's just wearing us down and robbing us of our great avenues for absorption of our food. So we're all literally nutrient deficient because we can't absorb it. This is where some people, the nutritional IVs might be important, but I've not had to go that route with anybody myself yet. I'm able to get things in with healing up this gut really fast. Right, those little villi take a long time to grow, but we'll talk about that more here in a minute. Your large intestine, yay. You should have 3 movements a day. What? Nobody believes me with that one. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, high fiber diets in third world countries. These people are the healthiest who are eating whole foods all day long. So that high fiber really helps to give you that 3 bowel movements a day. If you're having 3 meals a day, you'd had 3 bowel movements a day. But here in the Western world, we have too many carbs, too many highly processed foods, and that does not happen. So I try and get 2 a day. And if you're just doing 1 a day, you're having too long of a time that stool sitting in there. And that is not ideal. Your colon will start to produce putrefactins and these different toxins that you will actually reabsorb. If you're at all dehydrated, your body's going to go to the colon to reabsorb water and make sure it's getting it from somewhere. And that is definitely not the water you want to be reabsorbing. So diverticulosis is one of the main things that happens here in the Western world because we're not getting the fiber and we're not cleaning out that colon well. Things are getting stuck in those little crypts that we saw, then causing polyps and infections, right? Really unfortunate. Pain and irritable bowel syndrome, say just upset stomachs, diarrhea, constipation. That is not just, oh, I have a little diarrhea. That's telling us that your main system of getting in all your nutrients is not working. So that's the front line. Another reason I call this bulletproofing, like be able to reinforce that front line to be as strong as it can, taking in the good and keeping off the bad offenders. So fatigue, joint pain, brain fog, any skin issue from oily, acne, eczema, they all is worth addressing your gut health. A diet of carbs, sugar, alcohol, coffee, gluten, dairy is my top ones I see being the foods that are going to destroy your stomach the fastest. So we know coffee, that's definitely going to make you raw, wear things down all the way to make that mucous membrane overreactive. Gluten, I'm seeing more and more celiacs and almost celiacs, and their little villi get worn down really far down. It's very important to be healing that back up to get those back in working order to help absorb things for you. And then working up your food allergens and sensitivities. Beth didn't need to go there because she really had a bug bothering her the most. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but I've gone through many different trainings on these things, and the IgG is the food sensitivity part. It will be kicked up in the bloodstream. That I use a lot to just tell as well how leaky your gut is. I might not say you're really sensitive to all those foods that might come up. I'm just going to be able to note like, okay, a few of these pop the hole in your GI tract and all the other foods just followed through because there was a hole because you just ate them. And then that's telling me the immune system in your GI tract is not doing its job. There is a T3 in your GI tract, T cell, part of the immune system, that grabs onto food. And even if it gets permeated through the GI tract, say you're having dinner with some alcohol, that's going to make you a little bit more permeable, especially if you're eating foods that are high inflammatory anyway. Pork is the biggest one. That will irritate the lining, and food can kind of get through to the bloodstream. And then if the immune system sees it, it's going to start to have little soldiers against it unless this T3 is on it and says, ignore this, this is food. What builds up those T3s is your good probiotics. So that's the heart of your immune system. I'm finding more and more people having true anaphylactic allergies and they don't know it. They're compensating for it with just obesity, fatigue, depression issues, mood swings, this kind of thing. And then the food sensitivities definitely cause all those things. The asthma is a big reason for true food allergies. Just had a little girl in yesterday with egg allergy causing her asthma. And it was an exercise-induced one on top of it when she was in the cold river. So it's nice to go, okay, anti-inflammatories and watching these foods can prevent you from having to be on these big, heavy medications like albuterol, especially for our kids. So those are worth looking at. A lot of insurances don't cover the sensitivities, but that's okay. I've got a killer cash price one. Um, Way better than the insurance would charge you anyway. And then there's the gold standard, which is the elimination diet. And the top 7 foods you would remove for 3 weeks. That's going to be your soy, corn, egg, gluten, potatoes, sugar, and I say animal dairy. Other kinds of dairies are the nut ones and such are fine. And then reintroduction on those is very specific, and that is more advanced thing I would guide you through individually or talk about on a more advanced webinar for you here. All right, so the whole protocol first begins with killing. What are we going to do to help kill these things? Some people like to know what bugs they have. Most people don't, especially if they had to pay for it and collect their poo 3 times, different times. And most of them, I say it's not a big deal. Let's not even look at the scary, ugly names of these guys. Let's just go in and kill them out and get you feeling better. But this is definitely then brings in the art of medicine for me.